Welcome back to Search for Truth. The other day I was reading through 1 Timothy 5 and Paul's teaching to the church on widows. And there's some stuff in here that I just found awfully strange. First off, I am a widow myself at the age of 35. And so I kind of took interest into what his teaching was on this due to that fact. So starting in verse 3, it says, "Honor widows who are really widows. But if any widow has children or grandchildren, let them first learn to show piety at home and to repay their parents, for this is good and acceptable before God. Now she who is really a widow and left alone trusts in God and continues in supplications and prayers night and day. But she who lives in pleasure is dead where she lives. And these things command that they may be blameless. But if anyone does not provide for his own, especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." So first of all, he's making it sound like you're only a true widow if you have no children at home. So I looked up what the word widow in the Strong's in the Hebrew and the Greek means, and it just says a woman who has no husband and is no longer remarried and is not remarried. So a widow is what everyone assumes, one who's lost their spouse, whether a man or a woman. So then it goes on, "Do not let a widow under 60 years old be taken into the number, and not unless she has been the wife of one man." So now you're not even supposed to help anyone unless they're 60 or older. "They need to be well reported for good works, if she has brought up children, if she has lodged strangers, if she has washed the slain's feet, if she has relieved the afflicted, if she has diligently followed every good work. But refuse the younger widows, for when they have begun to grow wanton against Christ, they desire to marry, having condemnation because they have cast off their first faith. And besides, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but also gossips and busybodies, saying things they ought not." First of all, I think it's how can you put every single younger widow into this small box? Like, this is just weird. "Therefore I desire that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house, give no opportunity to the adversary to speak reproachfully, for some have already turned aside after Satan." So, to me, when he says if you are do not take anyone in as a number, like into the church, do not help them unless they're 60 or older, and unless they don't have children or grandchildren to take care of them. And then and only if they've done good works. You can't help those who haven't done good works either. And then he says, "I desire," first of all, it doesn't say it's a command from Yahuwah. It says, "I desire that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house." So, in my opinion, what he's almost saying is he thinks that people under 60 should remarry. And then if you go back to verse 9, it says, "Do not let widows under 60-year-old be taken in the number, and not unless she's been the wife of one man." So now what he's creating is having these younger ones remarry. And so if their husband dies again, a second time, they're widowed twice. I don't know if you say it like that, but then they're no longer the wife of one man. Now they're the wife of more than one man, which means the church will never have to help them, because he said only help them if they're 60 or older and the wife of one man. So I take this as he's making it so the church only has to help a very few select number of widows. And I find this so strange, because Yahuwah never talked like this about widows. And he was huge on helping widows and orphans. And I just find it strange. I mean, I don't want a church to help me. I don't ask anyone for help if I don't have to. And I just can't imagine turning people away like this. "Well, have you been the wife of one man? Well, you're under 60. You need to go remarry. Go find a husband, because we can't help you here. Well, you have children, you have grandchildren. If you need help, go ask them. We can't help you because it's their duty. You need to go ask them." I have a old neighbor, and her husband died 3 months before mine, and she is 60. And I have helped her as much as I can. And I mean, I don't live right next to her anymore, but she had back surgery. She can't go back to work because she had a stroke. Like, she needs help, and she won't ask for it. But I try my best to be there and help her when I can, even though half the time I can barely do the things I need to do and take care of my 5 kids. But I want to help her because I know she needs help, and I know she's somebody like me who wouldn't ask for it, and she would do it herself if she could. But I just can't imagine asking her, like, well, have you been the husband of only one man? You know, I didn't see you do all these good works. Maybe I shouldn't help you. No, I help her because I know she needs help. And that's what Yahusha taught us to do, to love others. And that's our duty as a disciple of him.